Oh, all your presentation didn't show on YouTube. Well, I was saying on Facebook that we're not able to hear the music in the studio for copyright reasons, worldwide copyright reasons. Well, we're copyright compliant here, at least on Nigerian level.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm coming back to you, Alex.
Okay. We're going into global
I'm not
trends.
you. I've not launched you. I've not
Okay,
launched you. I'm
I'm
just
not.
preparing.
Okay, I thought you launched me.
No, I've not launched you.
All right.
We still have like 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 2, 2, 1. We're ready. Well, I'm here and Alex is there, and we are ready for global trends. Alex, are you with us?
Yes, live and direct. So we're going into global trends this morning, and the first story is from Bangladesh in Asia. It says TV on fire. Um, Authorities in Bangladesh say protesters have set fire to the headquarters of the state broadcaster as violent clashes between students and police continue.
Hmm.
There was a quarrel over a quota system in the Bangladeshi civil service. So you had
Okay.
students protesting against the way the guidelines came out. They felt some groups had been discriminated against. So protests erupted and it's become
Okay.
so violent. Such a terrible
Okay.
situation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. The next story takes us into Africa, Namibia in particular. It says, no more. The Namibian government has refused the request to extend the visa for a Ugandan king who has been getting medical treatment in the country since April.
Mm.
So the Namibian government's moving against a Ugandan king who traveled to Namibia for treatment. Apparently, there are all kinds of accusations leveled against the king. There are accusations of kidnapping. I don't know how a king
Mm.
kidnaps. And there have been protests outside
Mm.
the Namibian High Commission in Uganda. So,
All
his
right.
own people are saying, send our king home. Don't allow him to stay anymore.
I see.
Uh,
I
I
see.
can't understand. I don't really understand what's really going on there. But
Well,
those are the
if
gist
your
of the story.
if your people rebel against you, there's no smoke, as they say, without fire. There's something agitating their minds. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
All right.
Nigeria. You don't maintain your health facilities, so you run to another country for help, and they say go
Yeah.
back and get your treatment in your country. Well, I wish him all the best, and I hope they resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Well, let's
All
go
right.
on.
We're going into the United States next. And the title of the story is Wrongly Handcuffed. And it says the
Mm.
United Airlines has apologized to NFL Hall of Fame legend Terrell Davis after the two-time Super Bowl champion said he was wrongly handcuffed on a flight to California.
Mm.
I actually watched him being interviewed by Gail. You know Gail. Gail used to appear with Oprah, and later she had her own show. So Gail brought Davis and his wife onto her show to explain what
Mm,
happened. And he said they had taken off, and it was time for the air cabin people to distribute drinks. So they were giving out drinks, and he said he noticed the attitude early. Maybe the guy was a racist, that the way he was banging
mm.
the drinks down on their trays when he got to where he and his family were sitting was offensive, you know? So
Okay.
as the steward passed, one of Davis' sons says, "I would like some ice in my drink." But it's
Mm.
either he didn't hear or he ignored the call for ice. So the football star tapped him on the shoulder just to call him. And before
It's
you know it, he
attention.
said,
Yeah.
"Yeah," and he said, "Don't hit me. Don't hit me." And
Oh,
he left his trolley and he rushed to the other side of the plane. Apparently, had gone to
oh,
report the man that
reports.
someone was hitting him at the back, you know? So immediately they
That's
landed, they handcuffed the
wow.
man, Terry Davis. It was so
Without
embarrassing.
without finding his own side of the story.
Without without asking him anything. You know, it was all racial profiling. That's what was going on there.
That's the problem with systemic racism. Right.
Yeah. But you
It's very
trust
deep
his
into the culture.
lawyers, his lawyers are suing the airline. So
Yeah.
he'll probably make some money out of it.
They deserve it. They deserve it.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, same thing with the police force. They're just quick to draw, quick to anger, quick to respond.
Yeah.
You
How
know,
can you just handcuff? His children were there, his wife were there. You didn't ask him anything. You just
because
told him, "Don't resist. Put your hands forward." And you brought out handcuffs and you clamped them on him
wow.
on a flight, and people were watching. Thank God people saw what happened and they started protesting immediately that you can't do
Mm,
that. This man didn't do anything. You know how people are in that part of the world.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Such a
thank God that was resolved. Okay.
yeah. All right, so we're going on. The next story is from Europe, Italy in particular. It says an
Mm,
Italian journalist has been ordered to pay Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni damages of 5,000 euros. That's about 4,210 pounds over social media posts making fun of her height.
mm,
Amazing.
mm.
You
Yeah,
know, the
yeah.
lady is below 5 feet. She's
Yeah.
about 4 feet, so she's very short. And
So you now make fun of
this,
her. Mm.
which isn't fair, you know, body
It's
shaming.
not. No, it's not. I hope. I hope that will be like a deterrence to. Here we make fun of. I mean, especially comedians. They make fun of all sorts of things, body
Yeah.
shaming, uh, health shaming, all kinds of shaming, in the name of cracking jokes and all that.
And it's
It's not
very
right.
unfair.
I,
It's unfair.
I like before you go forward. I think you should back up a bit. You missed the Zimbabwe, except you don't want to.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm scrolling there now.
Just before
Reckoning
your
with
yeah,
atrocities. Reckoning with
yeah.
atrocities. It says Zimbabwe's president, Emerson Mnangagwa, I hope I didn't murder that name,
maybe,
is
maybe that's why you're
launching
running away from the story. Tongue twisters. Oh God. Yes, go ahead, please.
Nangagwa, something like that.
Nangagwa. Nangagwa.
Okay.
God,
Is
God help
launching
us.
an initiative to hear from survivors of ethnic killings ordered by his predecessor, Robert Mugabe, between 1983 and 1987. Some are
Mhm.
eager to take part. Others question whether a man who was part of that regime can be trusted with reconciliation.
Mm. Wow.
So,
Wow.
ethnic cleansing, they want
Almost,
to
almost
revisit it.
40 years ago. The pain will not go. The
It
the
won't.
the pain will not go. Wow. Mugabe did something in that country. Oh. Mm.
He did some terrible things.
Wow. Well, I hope they'll
All right.
find somehow some fine kind of restitution and be able to move on. Okay,
Mm.
let's move on.
So we're going into South Korea now, and the title of the story is High Ranking Defector. It says former North Korean diplomat Tai Yong Ho has been named the new leader of South Korea's Presidential Advisory Council on Unification, and it's a ministerial position. So apparently, the diplomat uh, he defected to South Korea, and they gave him a position in the government there.
Wow. Okay, we with that we'll take a moment's break to sip some water and come back with Global Trends Part 2. Okay, we are going back just to pause a bit.
All right.
Yes, Alex, are you still there?
I'm here, and we're
Yeah.
still on global trends. And the next story is amazing. The title is Global IT Outrage Hits. A massive
Outage?
out outage, sorry. Global
Yeah.
IT outage hits. A massive IT outage affecting Microsoft systems has hit businesses and critical infrastructure, taking the world back to pen and paper and cash. Computers across the world are displaying the infamous blue screen of death, synonymous with the Windows failure. Multiple airlines, including United and Delta in the US, have suspended flights, and many airports are checking in people manually. In Delhi terminal gates, information is being shared on a whiteboard. Some health and emergency systems are also affected, with appointments cancelled in the UK, surgeries postponed in Germany, and 911 calls, uh, 911 call centers not working properly in Alaska. Poland's largest container terminal is out of
Hmm.
service. Multiple
Wow.
governments and American airlines have said the outage was caused by an issue with cybersecurity software update from the US firm. CrowdStrike,
Travel.
that's the name of the
Hmm.
firm that's supposed to update.
Yeah.
The issue has been identified, isolated, and a fix has been deployed. CrowdStrike said in a statement, this is not a security
Hmm.
incident or cyber attack. You
It
know,
was it was terrible. That Thursday and Friday, that Thursday was terrible. Hmm.
it's one of my greatest fears in the world. We rely so much on technology. So what
Yes.
happens one day if you have a glitch like this? Everything
Wow.
runs to a standstill.
Wow. It was
it's
terrible
it's
that day.
amazing.
I was trying to send this, make some transfer, do this, transfer this, or send. It was on like that for the entire 12 or so hours I was there. It was so frustrating. Only to read
Mm.
later in the evening that there was a glitch, global glitch all over the place. I think it got better late yesterday or mid yesterday. And imagine, a friend called me that he was stuck in He was stuck in on what's it called that thing? Connecting flights. They could they couldn't
Okay.
connect. They couldn't they couldn't get they are giving them paper to go. You know, like we use in Molu now. They were back
Oh,
to
God.
stone age for one
They
day.
couldn't announce. They couldn't announce the
You know,
flights.
they don't
You can
announce.
imagine you're at the airport. You're looking on the
Yeah,
screen where your flight is supposed to be announced, and it goes
and
blank.
it's gone. It's gone. Where is no, 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 it was terrible. It was terrible.
Okay.
Anyway, thank God. I mean, a world without technology, I don't know how it would be.
Yeah,
It would be
it shows you the
terrible.
extent to which we rely on all
You
these
rely on
things.
it, on technology. Yeah. Okay.
Wow, may that never happen again.
Amen.
All
Oh,
right. The next story, the title is simply Guilty. And it says, in a landmark opinion, the International Court of Justice has ruled Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories is against international law.
yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
so
uh,
whatever they can do to get
is how
Israel
to
to
is how
stop
to
their
is
offense,
how
you
to
know?
implement that. Is how to give effect to that. That's a problem now. You know,
Mm,
enforcement is the main thing. I mean, Israel should calm down. It's too much. Too much.
it is. And so many innocent people are getting killed in the process,
Kill,
women and
especially
children.
children and women. No,
Um, Granted, Hamas is known for mingling with the populace, so you
yeah,
can't track them.
human
But
shield and all that. Yes,
yeah, but Israel should also change their tactics. I mean,
we have to
you can't
consider them.
just keep killing innocent people.
Yes, yes.
All
Okay.
right, for the next story, we're going to the US, and the title is Stubborn Joe. US President Joe Biden has said he will return to the campaign trail next week, despite ongoing pressure from some Democrats to step aside as party nominee in the November election.
Hmm.
Hmm, Joe
I don't
Biden.
know. I don't know. I heard somebody called him inside. Was it Pelosi
Yeah, it was
or
Pelosi. Pelosi
yeah,
spoke out about
you
it.
I mean, I think one of his I'm not sure even if it's Barack or somebody. They showed him the poll, specialist polls that showed that it was losing space seriously to Trump. It will
Hmm.
not be good for many people if he loses this something. Even Zelensky, I mean, what's his name, the Ukrainian president was already fretting about a Trump regime. He said it will be a hard work, convincing him to support them and all that. You know.
And
Anyway,
there was an attempt on Donald Trump's life, and that has also
yeah.
made him popular. So, I mean, it's
Although
changing the way.
opponents are raising their noses at the very authenticity of that attack. But we saw blood, and the guy will mop it up very well. And then his ratings is soaring. It's
Yeah.
soaring. Did you watch the conference, the Republican convention?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was floating. It was floating, and all his flamboyance and everything. Well, we shall see what America will do in November. Let's wrap
Yeah.
up our trend.
All right. We have like two more to go. So, the next
Okay,
story
let's
says fraud fraud full board, and it says the entire board of Zambia's anti-corruption watchdog has been dismissed following bribery allegations against its officials. Hmm.
Okay, nothing more
Hmm.
to add. You know, Uh,
I'm sure the message resonates. All right. Then
nothing
the
more,
last
nothing more
story.
to add.
The last story. US journalist jailed. A Russian court has found Evan Gershkovich a correspondent for the Wall Street Journal, guilty of espionage. He was sentenced to 16 years in a high security penal colony for a secretive trial, or after a secretive trial described as a sham by his employer, his family, and the White House.
Wow. Thank you very much. Well, we pray for him. Americans have their problems. Nigerians have our own. We also pray for them for help in different ways. We'll come to our own problem when we get to our municipal headline reviews. I'm sure person is waiting for us today. We'll take a short break before we move on to review of municipal headlines. Now, I'll leave you with this. It's titled Koni Baje featuring Sheyi Vibes. This is headlined by someone called Lighter. I hope I got that right. And it's not Lighter. Lighter. Koni Baje. Hear him or her.
TopRadio 90.9.
Good morning, Bosun.
Good morning, Uncle Pat. What are you darling?
You tried to hold me. You are in blue today. You tried to hold me because
I'm eating our new jersey.
have you?
I'm going to new one.
Wow.
Okay, Arsenal launched a New Jersey.
Yes.
Everybody's launching. Don't mind him. We are all launching new jersey. Only us now.
People always look out for what we bring because it's always top notch.
Yes, I agree to that. That Chelsea jersey. I reserve my comments.
They need to be creative with it.
No, it's a thing that was done by Nike. It was all the effigy they are using to explain it. It's not working. It looks like a mistake made by a child who is painting on father members.
Now, where's the Pucci?
Oh, it's a little bit. He needed some rest. Yeah.
In those days when we used to review arts, there was some arts that looks like somebody just messing on the canvas, and you're looking at it and wondering.
I was able to make a sketch out of it. Somehow you're supposed to make sense out of it.
I have one like that in my sitting room. I just bought it to cover the school, and it's the most expensive. I bought it home. I couldn't explain it. They said, Daddy, what is this? I said, whatever you make of it, that's what it is.
Oh, good.
As far as I'm concerned, it's covering that massive space, and that makes up for it.
That's some usefulness.
You know what those artists think.
Yeah, what could be going through this person's mind when he did this kind of thing?
Sometimes they just do a jaga like that, and they leave you to.
If they hear you say that, they will start a lecture.
My son is an artist, so I try to understand them. Sometimes when they are hungry or angry, they will take it on the canvas. They smash up, and then there will be splash. Then they come back, and when they are full, they say, this one is not bad. It looks okay. And then they
abstract art.
Okay, we're back. Today it's a professional day. We are on time, marching on smoothly, and interestingly, Bosun is also in tune with us. Good morning, Bosun Oshifo Raya, join us. Our lead expert.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to be
Yes, yes. We are dissecting covers of our major newspapers. I think we will start with what we ended with virtually on global trends. On the front page of Saturday Punch it says global IT hitch. Nigeria passengers. This is Nigeria passengers. How can this say Nigerian passenger? Alex, see your people. The Nigeria passengers. As if it's the title of the airplane. Nigerian passengers groan as foreign airlines cancel and delay flights. United Airlines, Delta, Air France, KLM, others delay, cancel Nigeria flights. Passengers lament delays at airports. Foreign carriers advise travelers to reschedule flights. It's all over the world. This is what we were just discussing a moment ago. It's all over the world. Okay. What is there again? That's not okay. Man's best food spread. That's Bosun or Alex, do you have pets? Do you have pets at home?
I have enough.
No,
I have enough human beings to consume what we have.
You have enough already.
Enough human beings.
I've been wanting to get a dog, but my wife doesn't like dogs.
I don't like pets too. I will not finish with human that carry dog.
I love dogs. I love it a lot. And I kept it for many years until the situation, how they say it, beyond my control. Circumstances beyond my control made it impossible. But this is a story for pet lovers. The man's best pet faces feeds crisis as dog owners battle skyrocketing cost of feeds, medicals. I picture them, Yeah, do vaccination once every 3 months and all that, and then you do distemper test, you do this, you do that, you buy drugs for them, you put something in their food to make them, and then you cook well for them. As you're cooking your own food, you're cooking their own food. Then be careful of the pepper inside. It should not be too much and all that.
And you know what they say? They say that a dog is a man's best friend. That's what they say in the UK and the US. They believe a dog is a man's best friend.
Man is hungry already. So there's no way dog will not be hungry. Man is hungry. God. Let me take a moment. One of our guests trying to enter and is having old people's issue. I'll send the link that I sent to him. I'll resend to you that you should try and use that link. I hope it's not the quick link he's using. It's on this phone, but I can't get it. I can't respond yet. Okay. Well, job done. Let's get back to reviews of municipal headline. I think I feel bad watching myself act wicked roles. Are you at this point? Why are you feeling bad? Are you not playing roles? That's how you are this one.
She's good at it. She's actually good at it. So I mean,
I don't know. I don't know why you are feeling bad about your expertise. Don't be emotional about
Maybe
it.
maybe it's because society sees her in that light, in her, in
Especially
her real
Yoruba,
life.
you Yoruba people. You say, if you can do it very well like this, that means that there's no smoke without fire. If she can do it so
Like,
effortlessly well, that means there's a print of it in her.
yeah,
Nigerians.
what they say about Patience Ezeko. People actually believe that in real life, this
She must
woman
be.
must
Yeah,
be like that. And
I
it's
don't
not
think so.
true. It's
It's a
not.
role. They just play their role.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do it so perfectly well that become it, so to speak. But because except you have the strain or a streak of it, but it's because you have mastered it and they are perfecting it. More
Like
often than not, those who
okay, and
act,
rituals.
yes, okay, is a very gentleman, very nice gentleman, But when he puts on his acting toga, is a beast. He's a different beast entirely. Okay, punch out some nice Saturday stories. Yeah, that's nice. On their page 15, which they put on cover, they say standing on one leg all day, working is tough. Says a stylist amputee.
Hey,
Mm.
Says a stylist amputee, which
A
is,
hairdresser.
if you look at it, yes, and the picture of her with one leg and two crutches. And then to make hair, you have to stand.
Yeah.
And if you are successful and very good at it, you have to stand longer times because more people will come to you. Especially when they know you need the job and all that. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
stories like this are what will make you not want to dash out money to some people who just come begging and they are
Yes,
able
on the road. And they have a sense of entitlement around it. They will look at you and they'll pray, pray, pray,
to
pray. You are not responding. They say, okay, are you not hearing me? And I know they hear, you know, you know. Have you come across one that you give money to and they eye you that how can you give me 15 naira
there
for
was
this?
last
Was
week
that
I was
okay?
Last week I had an interview at Arise. As I came out, a woman approached me and said, I know you are a good man. I'm coming from Badagry and I'm coming back, and I know you won't give me anyhow money. I said, do you know what you do? He was such a way of holding me down. I don't come and give me 200 naira. I said, the way you are dressed, you're a responsible man. You don't give me rubbish money. Just had to pick up
Psychology.
1,000 my way.
Serious psychology.
Real one. She just ambushed me.
You know, there was a period in time. Oh, the Nigerians, we have suffered though. There was a period in time, I think after the SAP or all these austerity measures and all that. When you see on the roads, well dressed chaps, in jacket, ties, and everything, and they come to you and they say, "It's not as if I'm begging, but I will need your help to go to some." I mean, in good spoken English, and you just be so staggered and say, "Oh, let me just give him. Let me just." I mean, he has tried.
But
It's not
that
easy to beg.
we don't fall for it again.
No, they can't do it nowadays. The street is not smiling. As you are begging, they are begging you back and say, "I beg me too. I need some." Oh my. Okay, let's go to the Guardian. The Guardian weekend. Um, I hope our guest is able to stay online for some time. He's going back in and out. The Guardian is all strong face stories though. It leads with a massive headline about Ali Ndume, the Cantacario senator. It's the travels of a vocal parliamentarian. Atiku Abubakar is quoted as saying, "We are beginning to see a pattern in which the National Assembly has become an enabler of executive recklessness and concerns of the people stand in the nadir of priority list of the legislature, saying it at the bottom, what they call of the priority of government of the legislature." And then Philip Agbese says Ndume should embrace the principles of teamwork and collaboration rather than seeking to divide and distract the government from its laudable reforms. Guys, what's your take on this Ndume issue? What's pushing him?
Well, if you ask me, speaking generally, um, before I come to Dume, the legislative rather doesn't seem to be playing the role it's supposed to play in a
Hmm.
democracy. We don't have those checks and balances. Flashback, if you remember the role Bukola Saraki was playing, people felt he was a cog in the wheel of progress, so to say.
Mhm.
But when he left, some people now realize what he was trying to do. You don't allow the executive to run roughshod over situations. You don't assent to everything that they bring before you without proper investigation. So I think what Ndume is trying to do is maybe he's trying to synthesize his colleagues towards being more analytical in their approval of issues. Now, he may be doing it he may have gotten on people's nerves. Maybe his approach is wrong. But I dare say, when you have a legislative body in a democracy that seems to agree and is cohesive about everything the executive proposes, you should be worried.
Yeah, we should be.
That's the way
We
I
I,
should
see
be.
I, I have a contrary opinion.
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right. Now this is it. When things are down, particularly economically, as it is in Nigeria, in most countries, when people are feeling the economic pangs and everything, most times people who come and oppose the government are seen as heroes of the times. Now, and politicians have exploited that angle a lot. And I think that's what Undume does. If you look at
Hmm.
his voting pattern, the things he has supported, there have been things that are practically in his favor. Now, so most times when he's losing out, he comes out against the government, makes some incisive statements, and I think that's what has happened here. Because if you look at some of the things he has supported, he's not a people's person like that. Now, so I think he wants to just gain some cheap popularity. That's why he's become unnecessarily critical of the government and trying to incite people against the government. But when people feel that we're suffering and someone is siding with us, and then they feel that's our hero. But it doesn't really work like that. Look beyond what he's saying and try and look at the same Undume, go and look at his antecedents. Then you know that whatever he's trying to do is just riding on times and nothing special about it.
Well, uh, is it not intelligent people like you that told us that we should ignore the messenger and focus on the message? Are you now changing the? Are you now changing the dynamics now?
Sometimes you look at the messenger and the message together.
You know that both of them- Okay. Well, what Yoruba people will say? Taleshima baby on Elego. It's typical. What would Bosu say anyway? But Bosu has been fair. It's been fairly fair. Yes. Okay. Um, the Guardian has a lot of stories. I don't think we'll do much on it. It has this funny one. FCC PC fines Meta $220 million for data breach and other offenses in Nigeria. That Meta is the owner, the parent body of Facebook,
Facebook.
IG,
Yeah.
and WhatsApp. So if they don't pay the fine, they will stop. Oh, it's a serious
That's not
matter.
the first time. In 2015, if I remember
Yes.
correctly, there was a company that introduced an app into the Facebook system and harvested over 500 million profiles of people.
Oh,
And Zuckerberg didn't hesitate. He settled the case immediately because he knew the damage that the negative publicity
okay.
could
So
do
he's going to
to.
pay this 20 million.
Well,
Wow.
if there's evidence to show that it's true,
Wow.
I think he will
Ah,
settle.
if there's a way they can make him pay, they should just be looking for this kind of fine every year. Once a year, just to be like a part of our budget.
But looking at it critically, when you look at it critically, you see Facebook needs to safeguard the information that they've been
Yeah,
entrusted with.
that is
They have
true.
an obligation to do that.
That is true. That is true. That's one interesting one that says crime rate reducing. Inspector General Police boasts as Tinubu meets security chiefs. Okay.
That's not true. That's not true.
Are you IG? How do you know it's not true?
Okay, I could use my area as a case study. Robbery has increased drastically in my area in the couple of months.
Wow.
You know, in fact, what they're doing is they will break into your house and they will come with a POS. Can you imagine that? They come with a POS, or they come ready to take your phones and transfer all your money.
Wow.
And I believe it's because of the prevailing economic situation. I don't believe that crime has gone down. In my own opinion, I don't think so.
Well, hopefully next week we'll have a police officer that will be able to share his thought with us. Maybe he'll have a strong argument with you.
I think the IG's thought. You know, sometimes you just sit down and imagine some things and you run to town.
You mean the IG is imagining that the security has gone. You know, but sometimes you wonder, they don't attack their areas, or they don't kidnap people they know, you know. How is it okay, I don't know. Well, next week I think we can probe that further. Let's look at.
If I can quickly add this, my daughter's lesson teacher, he couldn't reach us in the past 2 days, and he said he was on his way from, I think, Oshodi going towards Mile 2 in the evening, and there was traffic, and some boys just came. He said for around a quarter. He said for like 5-10 minutes, they were breaking both commercial and private cars. They were breaking in, collecting phones, and police was just some meters away. That when they went to tell the police, they were like, they didn't hear, they didn't see anything. We are still telling you, it's ongoing. Those ones just stood there collecting their change.
Wow.
And somebody says crime has reduced. It was 2 days ago.
Okay, man, let's see maybe this is why
it's
maybe he read the cover.
Tough.
Maybe the IG read the cover of Saturday Tribune. That's why he's giving us that information. It says the lead story on the cover of Saturday Tribune says 296 kidnappers arrested in 6 weeks. No, they parade the suspects and the weapons and all that. That's this information from the police with the picture of the IG displayed on the front cover, and pictures of a lot of ammunition and suspects being showed. Lawyers, I thought you said they should not be displaying what they call it, parading suspects with their face so clearly shown like this.
That thing is really, that thing is basically to protect people that in the event that after trial they were released. You know, you can't go back and undo that. Once people see someone being paraded, the average person just assumes that you're guilty. So that's the essence of that. But for me, I think the statement by the IG, I want to go back to it because I feel it's still the same, on the same leg. When he says crime has reduced, I think crime has gotten to a level where we have to specify what crime. Is it cyber crime that has reduced? Is it because crime has taken different dimensions? So we should speak in context. So if he's talking in terms of kidnapping, but another thing I feel we should also look at, and which we don't have any report on, every time you see them, they arrest these people, terrorists, kidnappers. There's a whole lot of weapons lined up in front of them, and nobody is asking where these weapons coming.
Yeah. How did they
How did
get
they get
access?
these sophisticated weapons? The guys who came to Ladipo to kidnap about 2 weeks ago, they talked about the kind of weaponry they had on them. Those are not things you buy off the counter. So how did they come into the country? So as long as we don't look at things like that, you can't come and say crime has reduced.
Critical
Yeah,
points.
you're right. Okay.
You know, in other countries, they actually have an arm of law enforcement that deals with arms smuggling and illegal arms. You know, I don't know if we have that in Nigeria, because you find there are a lot of weapons that are unaccounted for that spill into our country through the borders from conflicts elsewhere in the sub-region. It's been established. And I don't know if they really have an arm of law enforcement that is supposed to be in charge of that.
Well, let's quickly run down
Have on paper.
Bosun, please, let's quickly run down our paper headlines and flow into our talking point. Our guest is around, and we don't want him to drop out. We'll take the lead story. Says on Leadership Weekend, says states on edge over planned hardship protest. Governors call for dialogue. They always call for dialogue. Say grievances receiving attention. Demonstration is a constitutional right. The CSOs shoot back. Northern students, others pull out. Security agencies place personnel on alert. That's for leadership. But they were doing hardship protest. And that's one of the reasons, stuff that Rume said in that lands him in Pot of Stew now. And he's saying, according to, I saw him in the cover somewhere, when he says, I stand by what I said. Where is that? Okay, let me take this. How Tinubu can lift economy from doldrums by Idika Kalu. Remember the former finance minister? I think it was under IBB.
IBB, yeah.
Yes, insists government not doing enough. Government not doing enough in cost of cost of governance. Says allocations to productive sectors must be increased. It must be sharing notes with our home Marcel Okeke. That's what it's suggesting there. I beg your pardon. Here it is. It says the Saturday Independent says war against multi-billion naira oil bunkering may yield no results without enforcement. Politicians, oil workers, security operatives are syndicates, say economists. Refined PMS smuggled into neighboring countries, sold at cheaper rates. That's from industry experts. I understand we're actually selling about less than 30% of what we generate. It is a catastrophic situation. Also on Independent, it says retired Supreme Court Justice Orji, SANs, others fault indecent dressing by lawyers. I put that deliberately because of Bosun. Bosun, they must be referring to women or female or men too dress indecently. Bosun have taken a vote of no comment. Bosun, did you hear me?
Well, there's need for there's need for us to always visit our dress codes. It's a noble profession, and I mean some things should not be allowed. So
Okay. When it comes to legal issues, Bosun,
there was some controversy
yeah,
over that at a point. There was a debate over whether lawyers should have to wear the formal suit to court. I remember, I think it was last year, there was a real controversy over whether they have to wear the suit or not. And maybe Bosu could enlighten us on
Why
what
would
they
there be a
arrived.
controversy? That's their uniform, supposedly.
We have our dress code and people are supposed to comply. But these days, with all kinds of generations coming into the profession, there's always the tendency to want to water down and try to, fly with their generation. So that's why the leadership of the profession have come together. Like, come, whatever you want to do it outside this profession. But as far as you want to stay in here, it's our colors are somber, our things, our attributes and everything is one of calmness and proper decorum. So sometimes even we lawyers, we try to correct some juniors that come, you don't do this. I know judges who who are very strict. Some are quite liberal, but some judges they will send you out of their court. You can't
Mm.
dress in a particular way. In fact, I know a particular judge in Shagamu. If she sees you with nose rings or multiple earrings, she'll send you out. Like, come on, well, you can't turn this profession upside down because all those little liberalism will creep in and become something bigger in the long run, and then it becomes like a norm, and you find it hard to correct. So, but lawyers
Yeah.
are supposed to be people that people look up to, not some rascally element.
At a
Okay,
point, sorry
gentlemen.
to cut in, there was something about the hijab too, about women wearing the
That
hijab.
that that, that has been permitted.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like an official dress too. Okay, let's wrap up with Saturday Sun. Yeah, leads with a massive headline: uproar over Tinubu's rise. 1.2 million bags of 25 kg rice won't stop hunger. Nigerians tell president. Then another says economists, PDP, CSOs, northern groups tackle government. And finally, the last kicker says any attempt to reduce hunger, welcome. That is the NLC. And an offshoot of that is the second story. The second lead story says, Ndume, I stand by my words, says Nigerians hungry, suffering. I mean, that's a fact. Are they, who's,
Mm.
is anybody doubting that Nigerians are hungry? Or even Bosun knows that Nigerians are suffering.
So you
You know,
see,
because I
Ndume,
understand,
even though
I understand
Why?
politics
Why?
and law. People in politics and law may not feel all we are going through because of the peculiarity of their professions. But even Bosu, as a lawyer and an advocate, and then the social developer and all that, knows that people are suffering and hungry. Who's doubting Ndume on that level?
There's no denying that fact. I was just talking about the person of Ndume and the cheap
I know.
popularity is driving. But really things are a bit tough out there. If I look at the number of even for those doing well, the number of people hounding you for funds speak to
Yeah.
the fact that something is not
Mm,
right out there.
mhm, mhm.
that's right. That's right.
Well, gentlemen and ladies, and the people of Nigeria, try and put a lot of perfume around the name and the person of Ndume and concentrate on what he's saying. Nigerians
Yeah.
are
Don't
suffering,
don't
Nigerians
kill the
are in pain.
messenger.
The cost of food, the cost of feeding. We're not talking about simple luxuries. We're not talking about uh, uh, enticing, nose rings and earrings and all this jewelry and all that.
But let
We're talking
Ndume create his salary for 6 months.
I
Well,
heard something like
I
that. They've
understand.
done it.
The yeah,
They've
some
done it
some
in the house.
legislators suggested that. I hope it's not fake news. That I understand. Let me read the piece. It says, I hope it's true. When I saw it, I said, "Yeah, praise God! Though it's coming to my country." It says, breaking news: reps to take salary pay cut for 6 months. The House of Representatives has resolved to take a 6 month salary cut as a sacrifice due to the economic hardship currently experienced by millions of Nigerians. That would be very
Bravo.
nice.
Bravo.
Even if it's only that 6 months, we will know, we will feel it, we will be helped by, it will, emotionally, it will make you understand that, okay, they can feel what we are feeling,
Uncle
and then
Fudge.
also,
Uncle Fudge, the street balance they play. That's what they are
yeah,
selling to us.
we are just hopeful that they are not selling us a dummy.
It will
We
never
don't know their salary. We don't know their salaries anyway, and we expect that the senators will follow suit. I mean, and then the government will show us how much we have saved from that thing. Not that the one they would convert to constituency grants again and all that.
No,
Okay,
there's difference between basic salary and all the things that come with it. The basic salary may be like 250, and they cut it into
but
two.
they didn't say basic salary now. They say salary. So it must be all the emoluments.
Let's see how it
See,
goes.
lawyer. You're already looking for loophole that they will use in escaping. Okay, it would be nice if you can do something symbolic like that. It'd be very great. I've always been hungry for such thing coming from the governance space. People make some level of self-sacrifice for the sake of all. I hope they will shame Bosun and they will do so. Okay.
I hope.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We take a short break and come to talking points. Our guest is around, and we want to give him a lovely intro. So I'm playing this music. It says Faji. It's by Joe Boy featuring Mr. Easy. Jamo, let's see your face. Oh, my guest is around. Jaman Nanikulapo. Hey, Jamo, how you doing?
This
Wow.
is the face of somebody who has been stranded in the past.
I was telling them that you were what do you call that thing? ITH, global ITH caught you somewhere on route to wherever you are going.
You won't believe I'm still stranded in Amsterdam here.
Oh dear.
Wow.
Oh dear.
Because of
Wow.
that, I don't even
They
know
have resolved it.
how the whole work will shut down because of Microsoft or whatever.
Well, at
That's
least you have
terrible.
internet power to we can see you.
Oh yes, I'm
You
here.
have internet access there. Ehe.
Yes.
That's great to see you. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. I'm trying to put up my accompaniment, my music, so I can. It's the only consolation I've had here.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
Yeah, I'm here.
So you're
Okay.
welcome.
Immediately the music is playing. Immediately ends. We launch.
Playing.
Yeah, is it playing?
It's in my wife's
I
last
shut
night.
it down because
No.
of copyright stuff.
Okay, no
Facebook will
problem.
now say somebody in Spain or in Russia says
Oh,
you have
this
infringed.
too. No,
Yes.
anything you play is okay by me.
My Oga, how are you?
Great to see you, sir. Alex.
That's
Yeah.
Alex
And,
Ogundari.
I'm working on TV. Great to see you, sir. Yes.
Same.
I'm so sorry. Last week I couldn't join up because of network, and I was in Nigeria, but here in another place. Actually, the network looks fairly stable.
So when do you think it will end? When will you be able to get out of this situation?
Well, I'm waiting for them to call me. I was supposed to have a one hour flight to London from Amsterdam.
Okay.
But then we were on board, and then they asked us to come down that they couldn't fly because Microsoft was down.
Jeez.
So the plane would not fly. So they canceled almost about 200 flights from Amsterdam yesterday.
Wow.
Those were on board. They just asked us to come down. But the worst part is that you couldn't use your card anywhere because it means POS and things were not working. So I had to be calling people in Nigeria to pay things for me, and this PayPal thing. Everybody.
Okay. I'm going on live. I'm going back on live. Well, he couldn't join us last week due to network hassles. But we thank God today, in spite of the international hassles, network hassles, is able to join us. We can call him easily Mr. Art and Culture. He's a cultural activist. He was for 10 years the arts and media editor of The Guardian up to 2003. And for another 10 years, I can't see that kind of tenacity. He's a very young man, though. Another 10 years until 2013, he was the editor of the exquisite Guardian on Sunday, including the Colorful Life magazine. And now, the program chairman and director of many of Nigeria's biggest arts properties globally, led by Committee for Relevant Arts, CORA, Culture Advocates, COCO, CAC, then CORA Arts and Culture and Cultural Foundation, and then Lagos Book and Arts Festival, LABAF, and more, and so. And you can see he's en route somewhere looking for how to celebrate one of our greatest icons in the arts, Professor Wole Soyinka. It's a pleasure to have at last on this show, German Oladejo Anikulapo. Good morning, Ja.
Thank you very much, Faj. You didn't warn me. I should have warned my Ajure so that you can abuse me. Because I still remember the abuse of Faj was the first person to say that I dress like there's no tomorrow. And that was, it was 3 decades ago. Because I was wearing a torn jeans, dressing like there's no tomorrow. I've told my grandchildren to ask you. Malia will be coming to you to say, what did you say about my dad?
Why did you say that? After 3 decades.
Must be ready to undo my case, please.
Undo the case. You still remember?
Yeah, I
okay,
remember.
let's start off.
Okay.
Let's start off with this. You are Oladejo, you are Nikulakpa. I understand that. You are also German. Who gave you German? Did your father give you German?
You've been over. If there's anybody who can write a book about my name, it's you. But let me break it down.
Okay.
You know what we say as a Yoruba boy or Yoruba child, everybody gives you a name, especially your grandmom, grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay. So my paternal grandmother, the name she gave me was Eniolorunda. Full message of it, Eniolorun ti da kò ṣe farawé, kò ṣe fẹnu tẹ́ńbẹ́lẹ́, kò ṣe lupa, wíwò làáwò. And that's the way she was.
It's like incantation.
Yeah, it's the same thing I've done for my children. Sometimes they say they are boring us with you. I say, your full name is Tioluwa Lashe. Tioluwa ni you are with Tioluwa Lashe. I'll tell my daughter to say that. My son, Oluwa Seun rere nínú ilé ayé mi tí n kò lè gbàgbé títí láí. I have to stress this.
That's a sentence.
They have to know that their names are stories.
Yeah. It has to do with identity. And I'll tell you, when we get into the Soyinka program, I'll tell you why I insist on this identity.
Okay.
Otherwise,
you have not finished the German thing.
The German is Eniolorun ti da kò ṣe farawé.
Okay.
Eniolorun
So you converted it
from German. But let me tell you how it became that. And you know the person, Ben Tomoloju. When we formed Kakaki in 1979, I was this errant guy. I was just a footballer. But then he dragged me into the art. And so we had a crazy guy among us called Uluwaloni Adeyokun. But we were giving ourselves names because we formed what we call the art cult, Kakaki art cult with K.
Okay.
And so he was a Rasta, and he's a prophet. He must still be somewhere in Abuja there. He had this gift of, there are people who are gifted who can pick things, who are like spiritually inclined. So our first meeting we call ourselves orders, ORDER. Bentomology was prime order. I think Anta Olaniyan, this big actor, was water order. This park was fire order. I was earth order. Earth as in earth. There's a fourth. It's for the so many years now. So
Yeah.
because this guy was the one who had this spiritual gift, and you could see when he talked, it talked like he was being informed by some other element.
Mm.
So he just looked at me. He didn't even know about this name. We give I said German.
Mm.
He called me German. Look at this. This guy who became Papa Jasko, Yodo Ayoyinka.
Yeah.
He called him fireman.
Mm.
Even though Anta Olaniyan was already called Anta that will Olaniyan. He called Anta. Anta had the name. Methodology had the name. Everybody had the name. But he just looked at me, just said German. When I
Mm.
now tried to play this German, that I was struggling to get used to that. I discovered that it was just Ọlọ́run dá, ẹni Ọlọ́run. So that's the
Yeah.
origin of German, ẹni Ọlọ́run.
Man. Okay. From today,
I'm
I'm
free.
going to
Don't
call you
start
Eni Ọlọ́run dá. I'm going to call you Eni Ọlọ́run dá. Kò ṣeé farawé Ọládẹjọ
kò ṣe fẹnu
Aníkúlápó.
tẹ́ńbẹ́lẹ́ wíwò làáwò kò ṣe lù pa.
Oh, we will allow, and it's true. Now you're just
Wow.
looking now. That we are tired that we are not going anywhere. You are just there, and you know, this man has been doing fantastic work for the arts community for the past 35 years that I have known him, or more, I believe, and we have come all the way from street reporters to line editors to editors and all that, and you have remained committed to the arts. It's is is it what Yoruba call ṣé àfiṣe ni? What is your problem? That you have suffered a lot of things. You have suffered, personally, emotionally, physically, professionally, and you still calling more. And is it is it a I mean, how do you call it? Yeah, a fish. Is it a fishy? How do you say a fishy? Is it a destined kind of a thing? Why are you stuck on art all your life? Nothing else. Eh?
Okay, I have an explanation for that, but then I will now add affiche. I think it's an affiche. But to me personally, is how do you say Abiba or something? It's something that you were born into.
Okay, you're born to,
I
yeah.
can explain that. Uh, I didn't prepare for all of that. I would have thought through it.
He didn't
No,
prepare.
it's the only fact that can ambush you like this. But let me try and give a context to it.
Abini B. That's it.
It's something you met at all. And this is the way
Somebody just met.
this was the way I met it.
Somebody,
Too.
okay.
My grandmother, if you are familiar with Abeokuta, there's a place called Adaton.
At that time, yes. I went to school in Abeokuta now, 4 years. Or is it 5 years?
So, okay. Adaton is the Obatala. The Obatala shrine was around that place.
Somewhere in that time, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So Adaton is Adani Chidani, Adani Tonto Dani. That's Obatala. That's part of Obatala. The creation myth is that God created all those gods. God removed the human body, but the one who put the mouth, the accessories, was Obatala.
Okay.
So sometimes it's inverse. It's inverse that he created the body and God created the accessories. But the one I know is that God created the body, but the one who puts all the functionaries there was Adaton. So that's Adaton. So my maternal grandmother was the priest or the priestess of Adaton. That Muslim guy has removed the whole thing. In fact, the shrine, I'm sure now the park Molu there now. So but it was at that point between Itoko and Adaton in Abeokuta there. So my maternal grandmother used to run that place. This was what created the initial confusion for me. This same woman who would dress in white from about 4 a.m. and sit in that and go to fetch water from Ijaye and bring the pristine water to that place And barren women or women who were looking for child or children would come there and drink the water. I don't know whether it was fraud or whether it was true, but they'll come back to give testimony that it was after drinking the water that they were able to conceive and give birth.
Hmm.
Now, the contradiction for me, which says something about Yoruba culture, is that this same woman, when she returned with that water and they've taken the water, around 5:30, she will go to mosque and be you know, up to now, I couldn't explain it before she died. I said, how can you be this? And you also, because if you then change from the white to something else and tie her head, and still
The duality of bubbles. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And at 4 p.m. she will run a whole party and all of those things. So our role as the priestess of that shrine was that if there's any, because that's the role of Abatara, if there was any disaster or bereavement or anything, our role is to go to the front of your house and she will chant and sing and dance and with other women and go until that bereaved person comes out in smile or laughter. So our own was to relieve you of your body.
Hmm. The pain. Yeah. Hmm.
Then as a sickly child, you know, my dad went to war. And
Okay.
went to war as in the Civil War as a builder of barracks.
Okay.
But soon he's looking at me that this man has suffered through. So yeah. So my father was in the war, which means he was not with us in Lagos here.
At home. Yeah.
And I was a stubborn child. I was sickly, so I had to grow up with this woman because they believed she was the only one who could rescue me. And my grandfather was Babalapete, was an Ifa priest. So they
Okay.
literally dumped me with them to bring up. And the story she told me, because my memory, I mean, I'm talking of when I was like maybe 5, 6 growing up, but that
Hmm.
I was always accompanying her to those missions of trying to relieve her. And that without prompting, I will go into the house and wear all the beads of my grandfather on my neck, and I'll be the lead dancer.
Hmm.
I'll be dancing, and everybody she's thinking I'm dancing, and you know, I can't even picture. I took my daughter there in April because she's 15 now. I said this. I used to dance on this spot at the adult shop, but the already wiped it off. She was saying, "You were a street dancer. I was a street dancer, gangster." So, don't think I'm Muslim. Even your son, Shorere, was saying that. Why you say? I said, your dad was a gangster. So I grew up in the shrine. So that's what I was doing. That's why I said this.
Yeah.
My father may not have had
Yeah.
the inclination, but my
And
grandmother, but in a way, my dad too was, because in our house, Nagege, which I've written in some of those my memoirs,
yeah. Yeah.
you know, Ayinla Omowura came out of that environment, Itoko. If you see Ayinla Omowura and my mom, you think they were twins.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ayinla
Okay.
Omowura, when he came to Lagos, when he used to come to Lagos, then was always in our house off Capitol Road.
Hmm.
So I was
Hmm.
growing up knowing Ayinla Omowura, knowing Fatai Olo. In fact, sometimes when I think about their fight, I was wondering why? Because they were always in our house, and I saw them do things to women in that house together.
Hmm.
Yes, because I remember those pictures of sleeping in one room. I mean, if you have two men sleeping in a room with a woman, what could be happening? I don't know. I'm not
Hmm.
accusation. These people, then they will go out
Look me today.
and they will
Wow.
just themselves.
Hmm.
And then people like Barrister, Ayinde Barrister, will come there because next to our house, my father's friend, Babalachi, who was also in the army, they ran away from the war front when they saw blood.
Hmm.
Ran. That's why they so, but when he came, he was selling smokes because you know we're not too far from the shrine. So all these
Okay.
musicians come to his house to smoke. When they lived there, they would come
Mm.
to my father's shop. My father was running a shop under our house where they were selling beer, but he was never around. We were the one. So I grew up
Mm.
around characters. People like Shino, you may not remember. Shino Peter used to come as a young, fairly younger person. He will come there. And then people like other war disasters called people like Nobody Kusiyawe. It was a living character in our house
Mm.
to
Yes.
come and smoke and drink. Alado first second, they were always, So I grew up in that environment of these creatives, uh, people, but it didn't manifest until when I now went to secondary school and Bentomoloju
Okay.
it came to our school as a youth corps and then dragged me to the arts. So that's the
Wow.
man of the art, and I've been there since in that space.
And forever since. Thank you so much for that foundation. Now we talk about Wale Soyinka. Well, if you're listening to us, we've been chatting with German and Nikulapo. I'll give you the full name later. Uh, and we'll be talking about Wale Soyinka at 90. Uh, and you can call us. You can also join in the discussion. The number to call is 0913 697 3485. Once again, I said the number to call is 0913 697 3485. German, I
Yes,
know you've been working professionally with the prof for upward of more than 20 years, and the man is not an easy person to work with professionally, privately, otherwise. He's not an easy being to work with. How have you been coping? How have you been? Have you had mental breakdown or physical breakdown sometimes, or emotional breakdown or break up or whatever break you have? How has it been this many years?
well, the fact that I'm stranded here in Amsterdam is because of him. Because when you work with that with that man, you carry a lot of baggage. And I've not even written to him that I'm stranded. He doesn't know I'm not in London yet. But okay, the relationship started way back, 1986. You want
Wow.
1986? Okay, let me
Oh,
put it
yeah.
that.
What number is it here?
Yeah, and you were part of that beginning too. Remember when he won the Nobel? He was invited
Mm,
all over the world to come and give it. So he was asked to come to Italy, to go to Italy to spend a month and produce plays for them. A month to produce play. He couldn't go. And we had just, the Bentomology had just written the play Jankari War.
yeah.
Okay. So it was that Jankari War that we were preparing when he never saw the play, but he knew Bentomology by reputation. He said he would not be able to go to Italy because he was also to go to Mexico or somewhere. Then he recommended Giancarlo to go and represent him. Actually, they wanted him
Mm,
to go to Giro Place. They wanted Giro Place to go there, but then we had Giancarlo right. So he said we should take Giancarlo and then use the Giro Play as part of that. So I happened to be the one. In fact, we're always going to Ife. I remember Benti. You put us in. You remember that is B2.
yeah.
The brown B2.
Mm.
You put us in that B2. In fact, sometimes when I think of the journey to Ife, and I was wondering how that we be like 10 in that B2. Antalani, all of us, we will not cram ourselves in the night. Then when we finish the meeting, we run back. So we're always going to meet him. So I started meeting him then, and maybe because I was the interface at that period.
Mm.
Then he came, and
Mm.
then I became more or less like his student. He never really taught me physical, like Edmond and Ibe and who were his student. Because he was
Yeah.
UI by the time, when he came back from the prison, he left UI. So he never really taught me that, but I became more or less like his mentee. So I've been with him. I've grown up, and I'm a very loyal. I believe that I'm a very loyal animal. What
You
I'm
are.
you, I don't break.
You are. I don't know about the animal, but I know you are loyal.
Yeah, the animal in all of us. Go and read about it. So, so I've become so loyal to you. I think we built trust. So official, and I've run all his program when he was running the Lagos
Yeah.
Black. Well, it was never really on ground. I was the one running those things. Lagos Black Heritage Festival, the Yoruba Festival, African Drum Festival, anything he wants to do. He just a German guy. And he says I'm a ghost worker. That
Mm.
give him assignment. You don't know how you realize it, but it will be realized. And I didn't think
Realize.
that's
Yeah.
what he told me when I was 60 last year.
Mm.
So I've been consistently with him. But when I was about to, when my frustration, because I don't mind saying it, I'm not looking for job anymore. When my frustration got to the peak at the Guardian, and I wanted to leave because it got to here.
Mm.
When you talk about mental breakdown, that was one moment in my life that I felt I was totally broken, and I've not recovered. Honestly, 10 years after, I've not recovered.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, because I think that institution dealt with me. When people were moving around, I refused to move. I just wanted,
Yeah.
not what I wanted to do, but I found myself there.
Yeah.
So, but then it
Mm.
got to the point that I was made to feel like either you head to the grave or you ship out. Okay,
Wow.
now I understand
Mm.
when they say people commit suicide and things, but I got to that point where
Mm.
sometimes I even think about it. It's a very painful venture for me, but I wasted cumulatively
Wow.
4 years of my life. Really, I never worked anywhere. I could have moved. I had better options, even presidential option and presidential job option. I said no, I just want to be a journalist. And
Mm.
so when it got to that point, one of the people I ran to, Rob Bentomoloju, my boss, whose word is gold to me, kept on saying, "Jaman, stay in there, don't go. That if you leave, what they want to do is to kill the art section of the paper. The only pillar
Mm.
holding. You've gotten to a point where you are a title editor now, and so nobody can push you away. Anything you say, and it's true. I have to give them
Mm.
credit. My words were
Okay.
like good. Especially with Emeka is just being my boss. When they say they want to, I tell them no. This is what we want to do. And I told them I wanted to run a daily ask page. They said, it's not possible. You can't. I said, I'll sustain it, even though I had to die there. They said they will
Mm.
not give you money. We don't need your money. How are you going to get it? I said, I'll recruit my friend to write. You remember, Faj, I ran to you and I said, you
Yeah.
come and write column.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
asking somebody saying, you don't need to write column. This one, I feel for you,
Yeah.
write column. Don't write column. Call your Adeodutola, write column. Toyin, write column. I do have to leverage on all that relationship. So I ran to him that I wanted to leave the Gary, and he said, Agbalagba, he said, "No." Because by then, I'd been telling me every time I'll go, he was my only uncle. I'll go and complain to him. He say, "You want to leave?" Okay. Because I was going to him because I know that Medinibru was like his adopted daughter. I could talk to them.
Okay.
I think I would never do.
Mm.
Never put it. He won't go and make that kind of interview. I said I will not work with him. So when I was now leaving the Gambia, and I said, "Sir, I'm leaving." He said, "Okay, come and work for me officially." It was a good prospect. I know I'll
Mm.
never come in terms of funding. But then I thought about my life. By that time, I was 50. If I work with this man lives in the plane. It means I'll
Mm.
live in the plane. He will be dragging me all over the world. I won't be able
All
to.
over the world.
Yeah, I
Mm.
won't be able to have a life or have a father. So I noticed that he was not really a father to his children. So, and I want to
Mm.
pretend that I could be a father, even though I failed. I think I failed woefully now. So
Yeah.
I refuse to take that option. But I said, anytime you need me, I'll be there. And I did that
Mm.
because if you're drawing salary from somebody, you become appendage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
When you start carrying madam's bag, I'm not saying he would have done me that way, but sometimes you
Mm.
just feel like you're carrying that.
Yeah.
And I think
There's a
that,
potential.
that kind of
Yeah.
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 So I refuse to work fully with him. I just said, sir, I will just anytime you need me, I'll be there. So,
Mm.
but then, yeah. So the working with him has been very fruitful for me. It's been a learning curve for me. People have been saying I should write it. I said, no, I'm not writing any book. Let me enjoy it for maybe when it comes. Because some of the things I may want to put in the book may say something else about the character of Wole Soyinka that I know, that I've encountered, that
Yeah.
I've engaged with. I've shared private
Yeah.
with him. I've seen his
Yeah.
vulnerability. I've seen the human. I contributed an article somewhere in the past that they just republished in Ebedi, where I was saying the human of Shoyinka. Let me quickly
Hmm.
narrate. We were,
Okay.
when Jonathan launched the Bring Back the Book, and the president, Jonathan, called him and wanted Shoyinka to come and run. We now discovered that they really wanted to launch the Facebook collection. They wanted to use his name. And we said no. So we now suggested the idea of Bring Back the Book. So I was now, the problem now is how to now convince Shoyinka that we're bringing him for Bring Back the Book and not to come and launch Facebook book. Facebook book.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I now went to consult Dr. Ogunbi. You remember Shoyinka never had a house in Lagos for a long time. So he was always
Yeah.
so I went to Ogunbi and I spoke to him. He said, yeah, man, just launch, Ogunbi, at lunchtime, just we'll give him wine. When he's tipsy, then we can push the idea
Ah,
when I give him good wine, he'll be tipsy, then we push it to him. He will not over wine. When you discuss with a prof over wine, he will agree. So foolishly, I went there. When I got there, I met the late Akintunde-Johnson. He's dead now. I met the
Okay.
Osagunloye there. There were about 5 people there. Yemi Ogunbi. So they now gave him one of his grandchildren had just been born. So the way you carry a child, he carried the child like this. So one of those people now said, Prof, Egbe Omomora, this is a child, it's not a book. That everything they give to you is like a book.
It's as if I read it. As if he was reading
Like, what is it? It's not a book, sir. Egbe Mora. So every people in the that moment, he was trying to resist that thing. That moment showed the human.
Yeah.
It occurred to
Yeah.
him, I'll be explaining later, that he never really had that moment of holding a child, But
Hmm.
I've seen some pictures now that show that he carried this maybe when he was young. Now for a long time he had been cut off. So when they gave him a new baby, what do I do with this now? Should I- So,
Yeah.
kind of private
Wow.
are the kind of thing I would love to capture in my
I,
own.
I think you have many books to write. Let me give you some suggestions. The
Yeah.
first 10 years as an art editor, arts and media editor, it deserves a book. The next 10 years of as an editor of the Guardian deserves a book. Then the frustration and the
So when would I have
emotion
a private
of,
life? I'm writing all this.
of being a book is not seminar now. You can spend few weeks at retreat. By the
You
time you're
give me
65, 70,
you
you
give me
should be
the
retiring. You can't be traveling like showing cow. So that, and then you still have the showing cow years. So you have many books to write, at least 4 or 5. I'll send you the titles later. Okay.
wow.
And then I will
Also, you can see the way he's throwing me into assignment. When I'm retiring,
okay. Now you guys please feel free to ask him questions. We want to talk more about Shoyinka, and already he has given us a hint that there are certain areas he will not go to because he's keeping it for his memoirs and all that. But Shoyinka, to some of us, or especially in the arts, it's like an effigy of greatness. When you want to describe greatness or icon, you use him as an example. How is it like? Do you do you have like when dust falls on when it take away back the when the leaf inhabits the same space with the soap, the likelihood for them to merge is there. Uh, do you feel some grain of greatness working with you? Do you feel that you are becoming immortal too? The way it
that's
is,
rough.
this man, has it rubbed off on you such that you can't walk alone or you can't move around alone? You can't talk to people anyhow, because uh, that enigma is creeping into you. Do you feel a sense of utopia? That's nothing else you can do again. There's no mountains to climb again in your relationship with him.
Okay, that's the brochure I'm producing for the London. I mean, I'm going to London for the Shoinka celebrate the 10-day, 9-day celebration there. I'm still putting the brochure together. I have my own statement I want to write in the brochure. I say what Kongi teaches us. What Kongi teaches us. And it's my own way of responding. In fact, the entire thing, of course, I'm more or less the architect of the entire celebration in Nigeria and London. The whole thing was a response to, if since the election, this man has been. Like sometimes I wonder what he thinks in his private moments. If he ever gets to read some of those stuff that were written about him, including questioning his mental state, including questioning his certificates, simply because he offered an opinion. He may have gone overboard. I think I agree with everything he said. But is that enough? What they're trying to do, and I'll be surprised if some of us who are young intellectuals don't. There's something they call the cancel culture.
Yeah.
What those guys are trying to do was to cancel Shoinka. And they were doing everything, including people that you thought had senses. Even somebody had written about before. When I read some of the vituperations, I regret that I wrote about that character. Because when he was misunderstood, the position I took was to write a piece that say Femi Akintunde-Johnson is different from Fudge. I'm sure you know the person I'm talking about. I'm saying that you private Femi Akintunde-Johnson, who is his father.
I know the person you're talking about. I just don't. I'm wondering why you don't want to mention his name.
No, because there will be opportunity to respond fully to him. I don't want to. I don't do public fight. I said this guy is like this, but when he appears in public with all those
razzmatazz,
so I'll send you the four of you the article. You read it. It was my own way of saying, look, don't judge this guy by what you see. Judge him by when you meet him privately, judge him privately. When you meet him in another light, judge him privately. And the same way I've explained the character Lagbaja to people. That's why they probably wrong. I said, no, you can't conflate the artistic profile character of the person with the person. Because the person is also a father, is a mother, is a father or is a mother, or is a brother, uncle. So when you talk down, when you try to cancel them, are you canceling them as the public profile or as private profile? But you see, some of our people are so, even those of them who have gone to school, they're so damn illiterate. They don't, this problem of not being able to think through, process information and distill it. Maybe we're gifted because we're artists, we're lawyers. There are some of our people who, when the emotion gets in, it covers their senses. It's like you remove one sense for reasoning, you put another sense for. I try to understand it. So the whole program has been to explain, to situate this man and to offer a response to some of the things they have said. And what I told people that were working, I said, don't respond, because Shoinka himself said, do not fight for me, do not respond me. Because one of the things I've written, I said, do not fight for me. I fight my fight, I pick my battle. So the whole program is to make sure that we respond without necessarily writing action. I told my people, I said, overwhelm them with information that many of them will not even be able to lift their head. So I said that Shoinka is gifted with the Ogunian spirit, temperamental. And he said, I'm a very creatively temperamental. Personally, I'm temperamental. In fact, he used to say that you fail dirty. He's the kind of guy who's finicky with. He can't stomach when something looks, and if you check some of his quotes, it's in some of his quotes that anything, once you see something that could affect something dirty, I don't know how to put it. Was he dirty? Omar, that reaction is instant. He doesn't.
It's irritated like that.
That's why he said somebody will come down from his car and go and rescue them from policemen. He face gun and go on the street. Those are the creative temperaments.
Jamo,
Answer that
we,
question.
we can't we can't finish this today. We have to find time next week. We have to. You have to make space. Whether they connect you to London or not, or your way back, we have to spare us at least 45 minutes next week to talk more about you and Shoyinka, about the fight and the non-fight, the pacifism and the velocity, and all the zim zim. I haven't spoken about the grammar and the high octane discussion. I want to see when you discuss. Do you use, because Jamal too is an apostle of, is a student of Bentomology, who
I'll
is also
repent it.
a shade of
Shoyinka.
all the bam that is going there.
I've
I can
repented.
tell
You are like that. Stop saying that. Yeah, even did Alex. Even Alex. I don't understand what Alex is like. Fact, you are like that.
Okay, thank you so much, Jamal and Ikulaku.
Thank
We hope to
you.
see you.
Thanks very much.
Hopefully, by the grace of God, next week you will join us again. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you
a
very much.
wonderful weekend, and say our special regards to the prof. He's still our Kongi. No cancellation on this from this side. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bosun?
last word from Bosun as we go. This is the second time that Bosun is waiting to the end. It's a special day. Bosun, what's your final word?
No, it's been an intriguing morning, and today I enjoyed myself.
Thank you. Thank you. Alex, your final words.
Yeah, it's been great. It's really catching up with my boss, German, and hearing about the prof. And I want to call on our audience to keep a date with us next week. I'm sure next week will be much better than this.
Thank you. Anna, lady in the house, finally. What's your last word for today?
Be in touch with us next week as we give you more from Jama.
They're already roping Jama in. You must be around next week, oh, by the grace of God.
Wait till the place. Look at it.
That's a Sife Arogundade for you.
Oh,
Okay, so
no.
as we often say, be genuinely nice to people around you every day and do good as best as you can afford it. Stay blessed and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody.
Well, thank you, Jaman.
Oh, thanks. Oh. I didn't know I was talking too much.
And
No, it was,
Mentees to
was-
join and listen, but
it was
yeah, it's talking
interesting.
about-
It was interesting.
yeah, it was.
If I have the recording, so I'll pass it on to them. Then they will join up next week.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Osego,
Yeah,
have a
Machine.
wonderful program.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Alex, nice
Bye.
to meet you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
How do I exit now? Okay, leave studio. Okay.
You don't say live today, yeah.